Hello, online moneymakers. This is Michelle Brubaker here. And oh boy, you've got a good one here for you today. I am bringing you Blake. Tell me how to say your last name, Blake.
Beus, like juice. That's the easiest way to remember it. It just rhymes with juice.
Blake Beus, the juice. He's bringing that to us today. Right? And this is great. You know, a lot of people are brand new that are coming into creating an online business. And this is important stuff for you to know here. You know what? A lot of us, we get discouraged, we get hung up. There's obstacles. There's things that just get thrown in our path. We don't know which way to go. And oftentimes people just give up. And man, I know there's things I've tried that I've just given up on altogether because I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going to do this. You know, maybe it's a tech thing, or I don't know what those things are for you. But I know that I get those roadblocks too. And the reason I asked Blake to be here is because he is just crushing it beyond all crushing it online. In fact, you know, the neat thing, you know, I think about this, Blake, and even myself, there is times in my life where I actually have made more money in a month than I have in a year. And I'm 52 years old, so way back when we didn't make much money then. But I mean, you're doing that beyond. And so you've had to overcome things before to get to that level that you're at. So we are excited to hear about those things that can help us up level to that next place and achieve the goals that we're trying to achieve with our online business. Blake, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do online with your business?
Sure thing. So I actually grew up in a small town in Wyoming, less than 500 people, and loved everything about that. But now I live in Utah, and I've been here for over 20 years. And so this has been my home base for quite some time. My background is actually in software engineering and technology, just kind of related all around that. So when I decided to go on my own, run my own business and everything, I wanted to center around technology. And I bounced around a few different ideas, and now essentially what I do is I create digital products that help people just succeed online. And I use that technology background to help automate things. I teach people how to automate things. And so that's kind of me in a nutshell, and my background in a nutshell.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, I'm going to be asking you more about that in a little bit. So as you know, we have a lot of brand new people here in our group. So when someone's brand new to starting out with online business, or maybe they're like adding an additional stream of income, what are some of those things? Because today you said we're going to talk about that number one problem that holds people back and how we're going to kick that sucker to the curb for good. So maybe if you have some other problems, and then we'll break into the biggest one.
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of the other problems is and this actually relates to the big one. We'll get to that in a minute, but it's just feeling overwhelmed, or feeling like there's so many things you have to do, or feeling like everything we have to do needs to be perfect, or even just feeling like everybody else has it figured out and we don't. There's a lot of mental energy that goes into running an online business. And those are usually the biggest hurdles that a lot of people have. They may feel like their biggest struggle is technology, or I don't know how to run ads or whatever, but usually a lot of that kind of stems from, our way we're thinking of things. We're usually thinking of things like we're an employee, and now we're shifting over into we don't have structured guidelines. Now we have to do it on our own, and that can feel overwhelming. But definitely I see a lot of people that get overwhelmed with the technology side of things, and I love to simplify the technology. And I know, Michelle, you and I've had several conversations around simplifying technology and bounce ideas off of each other. And so I know you're right there in the same way, that it's really approachable, even if someone doesn't have a big technology background, to be able to do something online.
I agree with that overwhelm. You know what I think it happens to a lot of people too, is they're thinking, oh, I need to do social media marketing. Well, that means, okay, I got to do Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and TikTok and all these things. I need to do all these things. And then, and I had to post 50 times a day or 50 times a week. And then before you even get started, we just we're overwhelmed and then retreat,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, overwhelm, I think totally is one of those things.
Absolutely.
All right. What else you got?
We go to the big one, or you want me to talk about some others?
Talk about a couple more little ones, because that overwhelm is a pretty big one for a lot.
It's a big one. Well, and that's the thing. I think a lot of these things all kind of lump in together, and they all
Yeah.
kind of hit us all at once. But yeah, overwhelm's a huge one. Another one kind of related to overwhelm is just feeling like maybe you're not good enough. There's a lot of that kind of happens. Or another one is maybe I just have a knowledge gap. I know I need to get to this place, but I don't know how to get there. And so oftentimes we don't know what's right, what's wrong. You can research and watch YouTube videos and Google things, but you don't know who's telling you good information or not, right? So sometimes there is that knowledge gap. And I'm a huge believer that the faster we learn, the better we learn, the more capable we'll be in our business. So learning is a huge, key.
Well, I'm taking notes here because Blake and I didn't talk about this before because I wanted to be fresh asking him questions about it. So that second one that you just said about not thinking that we're good enough, I think that comes from probably Instagram, right? And all this photo touching up stuff and everybody putting their best foot forward. And I am so stinking guilty of that because before I come on the video, my hair's in a ponytail, and and I'm a wreck. And sometimes I'm even wearing my glasses here that help me on the computer, but my dog chewed this end off of it. It's like we're not being real and we're afraid to be real because we're comparing ourselves to everybody else and not feeling like we're good enough with things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if you know who Brené Brown is, but she talks a lot about vulnerability. If anybody wants to look up her TED Talk, she's had several TED Talks. They're fantastic, but she does talk a lot about this, not feeling good enough and being vulnerable. And that's what actually people get endeared to is the vulnerability and things like that online. And she's amazing. I actually had a chance to listen to her live at a previous company I used to work at when I was director of technology, and she's amazing.
Wow. Yeah. Well, let's make sure we put the link in the notes today for folks.
Yeah, I'll send that over to you.
That's a really good one. Yeah. And of course, the knowledge gap. I think if we're in online business, there's always a knowledge gap because I know that when I'm going to that next level, there comes a whole nother issue, what do they call it? The new level, new devils, right?
I've never heard that before, but I love it. It's so true.
It is true. I'll be like, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to figure this out. But, but everything is figure outable, right? Yeah. It is. True. And so even if there is a knowledge gap, if I can tell myself that when I get that next level, I know I'm going to find a way. I'm going to make a way and find a way, and it's figure outable.
Absolutely.
So whatever that knowledge gap is. Great one. Great. All right. What else? Talk about whatever you like.
Should we dive into the big one?
Let's take a big jump. Let's just dive in.
So this one right here actually encompasses a lot of the things we already talked about. Okay. When I started in software engineering, it's very overwhelming for a lot of people, especially because you start as a junior engineer or developer or something, and you're teamed with someone who's been doing it for 10 or 15 years, and their knowledge seems so much greater. Plus, they know the systems are working and everything. You just have all this stuff to work with. And everyone goes through this dip, and we call it imposter syndrome. And I absolutely love it. And I've pulled that from that area. Software engineering is talked about a lot, but it's not talked a whole lot about in entrepreneurship circles or online business circles. And so I love pulling that in because I think the exact same thing happens. We feel like we're an imposter. We're creating products. We're trying to help someone with something, or we're selling a service, or we're offering coaching or whatever. But so many times, nearly almost everybody feels like they're an imposter during that process. And when you feel like you're an imposter, like you're a fake, then it's really hard to kind of bring that level of enthusiasm that you need to actually deliver for your clients and your customers and everything like that. And there's so many things that go into imposter syndrome that it hits us from all angles.
It can hit you from the tech, and it can hit you from the not feeling good enough. I know that when I started, wanting to help support people that are getting started in online business, I thought, what makes me think I can step into that space? There's 1 billion websites or 3 billion websites on Google. If you search how to make money online, where do I think I can step into that space? And as soon as that gets in my head, I'm trying to step into one of the top 3 things that are searched for online, right? Relationship stuff and and making money and weight loss, right?
Right.
The big three. And I'm trying to step into that. And there's so many other people that are doing it better than me, right?
Right.
But that's but we got to keep doing it anyway, is what you're saying.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, and I'm glad you brought up Google searching, because that's one of the main places we get imposter syndrome from. So I'm a data nerd. I'm a huge nerd. If you haven't learned that about me, I'm a nerd.
That's why we're friends, probably.
So say I want to search for my current product right now helps people post on social media, right? So if I do a Google search for posting on social media, I will get probably 2, 3, 4 million hits. Okay. But most people only go to the first 10, right? Yeah. And so what's happening is we're comparing ourselves against the top 10 out of 2 million.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And those websites have probably been around for 10 or 15 years, and maybe I'm just barely starting out, but I feel like I should be able to deliver a product or a service at the same quality or level or the same feature set as those top 10 out of 2 million, right? And so we're constantly comparing us to that. And not only that, those search results are the top 10 out of like the collective knowledge of everybody in that space. You're comparing yourself against the top 10 collective knowledge of all those people and companies and everything. And it's just simply not a fair comparison. And so what we need to do is think about, well, I can help a person. I know I can help that person. I don't even need to compare myself against those companies or those top performers or whatever. I can help these people, and I can have a personal connection with those people. And then if you kind of flip these numbers around on your head and think about how many people there are in the world. I mean, Facebook has 1.25 billion people log into it every day. And in order for my business to be successful, I only need to sell to a few thousand of those, right? So there's definitely a few thousand people that are going to resonate with me and my message, even though there are all these big players out there. They may not like those big players for some reason, but they may really like my service. They will really like your service because they want to connect with you, with a person. Right. And so we need to kind of get rid of these unfair comparisons. And it's kind of where it all stems from. And we get that from social media, from Google searches, from YouTube. Like, we're only seeing the top 1% of 1% of 1%. And then we're comparing ourselves against that. We don't need to make that comparison. We can have a very healthy, very profitable business and only have a few thousand, customers, or only have maybe 10 clients if you're selling like a coaching service or something like that. You don't need this massive team with venture capital money to compete. You can get out there and carve out a nice little part of the industry just for you, because you're providing value to customers and people.
That's well said. Very well said. You're like speaking right at me. I'm like soaking it all up because that's so good. It's good stuff. I want to take a look at our folks that are watching here live and welcome you. I see a bunch of you are online here, and I'm excited that you're here. Those of you who are on Facebook and on YouTube. We have a question. Henry on Facebook says, what product do you market? I think at the beginning you kind of mentioned it was supporting people with technology.
Yeah. So I have multiple different products right now. The main one I'm putting most of my effort into right now is it's called the Social Media Content Plan. It's a content calendar for busy business owners, and I give them a bonus course and a few different things, basically just teaching them how to set up a schedule to post every day, how to schedule your posts, how to create posts that are engaging, how to not just have the same type of boring content all day long every day. And I get a lot of people like dentists and doctors purchasing it, or people that are in direct selling or network marketing purchasing it. And it just kind of helps helps people with that. It's a super simple product, but a ton of people love it.
Awesome. And you sell tons of it sounds like. A lot of it. That's awesome. Excellent. Great. So, okay, you were just talking about comparing ourselves with that imposter syndrome by looking at Google and other places and looking at that, comparing ourselves to that top 1%, 1%. And then, and then we might just be like, that's okay. I'm not doing it because I can't measure up to that. So what do I do about that?
Right. So what you do is first you need to stop with the comparisons. Except for one comparison I want to talk about in a minute, but stop comparing ourselves to, I don't know, to Elon Musk or Bill Gates or all these. For some reason, we want to compare to these people that are way up there. We read their biographies and their books. And while we can get some good information from those, it's not a fair comparison. They started in a different place. Our path is different. Our journey is different. We have a different set of constraints. We have a different set of values that we can offer people. So it's not a fair comparison. One comparison we want to make, and we should make, is compare how much we know now versus how much we knew a few months ago.
Oh, that's good.
Because when we're comparing that, we're putting ourselves in this mindset where growth is always happening. And when we're making that comparison, we can see how far we've come. I know, Michelle, I'm going to guess, but
okay.
I'm going to guess that there are days you put in a full 8, 10, 12-hour days on your business, and you feel like, I didn't get anything done.
Yeah.
And that probably happens over and over and over again.
Yep.
But then when you look back and say, where was I at a month ago or 2 months ago, you realize, wow, I actually got a lot done. But each day feels like you didn't get much done. But over time, a lot can happen. And so if we're comparing what we know now, the trajectory we're on now versus where we were at in our business a few months ago, that's a pretty fair comparison, because we're always going to know more than we knew then. Another thing is to put more value in the knowledge of what you've learned than in the dollars kind of coming in, because the dollars go up and down with online business. The most successful companies have periods where things are tight, and they have periods where things are great. But if the key performance indicator, to use a catchphrase there,
there you go,
our knowledge and what we've learned, then we're constantly winning, right? We're constantly progressing. And even if I tell this to a lot of my students that I have in a coaching program. When you start with ads, you're spending money for knowledge. You may not make a sale for the first few $100s, but what you're getting is you're buying knowledge. And if you think about it that way, we can spend money on a course or spend money going to college or university. And I've done all of those things, and I didn't feel bad about spending money to learn something. But when you're running your own business, you're spending money and you're investing time to learn things. And you're always winning if you think about it that way. And it's a really good way to kind of curb the imposter syndrome and the unfair comparisons that we all tend to make.
We absolutely do that. Absolutely do that. And and that's true, because I know that there were times like, I have to learn how to do email marketing, and I needed to learn how to work with my affiliates, and I needed to learn how to do advertising. And interestingly, I don't know about lots of forms of advertising, but there's always not a lot of free information online. And so if you are going to go figure it out on your own, which I had to do when I learned the kind of ads I do are Amazon sponsored ads, and you do Facebook ads, but same thing, a click is a click, and a click costs money, right? So, but being as there wasn't that much information out there that's free, I had to take all this time and figure it out on my own. And that time was my money as well. But that was a learning experience. And then, of course, later on, it was extremely successful and still is today to do. Yeah, ads are a good thing to figure out. I agree. But you're always having to learn that next thing. And, when you see everybody else is out there doing it, how come everybody else has got these ads out there? How come I can't figure that out, right? And we're asking ourselves all the wrong questions.
Yeah. You really, even if we have the worst day ever and I spent money on ads and I lost money that day, I can look at that, dive into it, and say, oh, you know what I learned? I learned that targeting this audience with this message just didn't work. So that's valuable knowledge. That's a mistake I don't have to make again, And so even failure is a win. And I hate the term failure, because it's just a learning process. It's not failure, but we're basically shifting the mindset on what most people call a failure into a win, because we learned something, we gained knowledge, we are now smarter and wiser than we were, and it was a worthwhile investment to gain that knowledge.
I'm going to remember that because there was a point where I had this week where just the internet went crazy and I got massacred on my ads for several days. Like, oh, there went $500 more, just like that. And it was like, oh my gosh, I just got totally massacred. Now I'm going to change that to what I learned. I learned something. Yeah, I paid for a learning experience.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just a really good way to shift it. So
yeah,
as an entrepreneur, you're always going to have those days where you have the ups and you have the downs. And it's easy to feel really down on the days when things aren't going well. But
yeah,
making that mental shift will help in a huge way.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Excellent. All right. I love it. Let's see. I'm going to go over here to our Facebook group. Welcome. We have some newcomers that just came in. Welcome to you that are watching. If you have questions for Blake, feel free to post them in the comments section here, or give us a thumbs up on this video. We absolutely love that. So go ahead and continue, and I'll keep an eye out there, Blake.
Okay. Yeah. So we've talked about stopping the comparisons and another couple of things we could do, but I like to keep kind of going on that path, keep trying to shift that mentality. And again, as a data nerd, one of my favorite things to do is to start treating everything like an experiment, right? Like put on your mad scientist hat and lab coat and treat everything you're trying in your business as an experiment. Because when you do that, you always have some sort of a positive outcome, whether it's positive revenue, sales-wise or whatever, or positive knowledge-wise, we know what's not working or whatever. And oftentimes it's a combination of both. And so one of the things I teach is just kind of sitting down and thinking through, okay, I know I want to get to this point. What are some possible steps to get there? Okay, let's take step one and kind of see how people resonate with that. And then take step two and then step three and just kind of keep working towards that. Instead of having these hard goals, maybe just have a trajectory of the direction we want to go. I actually have big issues with goals, and I talk about it in my groups and in my email list and everything. I prefer a trajectory, a direction, and a velocity as opposed to these hard goals, because a trajectory allows us to pivot or shift, because we oftentimes need to do that. Whereas a hard goal, we feel like a failure when we don't achieve that goal, but maybe we didn't achieve it because we decided to shift the direction of our business or something along those lines. So if we talk about direction and velocity, then it makes it a whole lot easier for us to turn a little bit, make a small shift, as opposed to feeling like we're failing.
And taking action towards that.
Right. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's one of the things. And what this kind of leads into is launching your products or services before they're perfect. And I'm sure you've probably talked about this. This gets hammered a lot, but it's so true, because
yeah.
It's impossible to launch a perfect product. It really is.
Thank you.
It's impossible. And the reason it's impossible is because we don't know exactly what our customers want. We can't read their minds. We can't go and just figure all of that out until we sell it to them and get their feedback, and then start making tweaks, changes, and adjustments. I mean, that's a little harder with physical mediums, like a physical book or something like that. But with digital products, it's pretty simple to make some tweaks and adjustments. And so I'm a big fan of launching early, get those first sales in there, push the imposter syndrome to the side and try to get a few sales in and get that feedback. And then, kind of push forward with those items that you can adjust and change to better improve the value of your product or your services.
Yeah, and serve your audience in the biggest way possible. I do that, and it's totally true. Sometimes I'll be like on the computer and I'll think, oh, I just spent the last 20 minutes trying to get a color right exactly, or nudge something over to the right amount of pixels. And I'll be like, what the heck are you doing, Michelle? Are you nuts? Nobody even, And the funny thing is, because I do online courses as well as my publishing business, and I've actually bought courses from other people over the years, and I'll log into the back end and I'll think, that's all that's in there. And I'm thinking, here I'm making this whole fancy, beautiful thing. One of my friends is really good, and she says, Michelle, you needed to pay for that experience of logging in and seeing that they're successful doing it with less than you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are
absolutely.
successful doing it in a lesser way and in a less perfected way than you are. And look, I mean, even on, because of course I'm in the book business, but there's books that are out that are selling that maybe aren't as perfect as they could be. And I use that example many times because one of my books had the cover, one of the words on the cover was spelled wrong. And I sold like 20 books of it before nobody even said anything to me about it. Yeah, it was a cookbook on coffee recipes, and it has, coffee recipes, and it has in it, like drinks and baking things and desserts, and I spelled desert. And that book sold like 20 of them before anybody ever, and that was really a wake-up call to me, like, you know what? Done is better than perfect. And you hear that all the time. Done's better than perfect. Just get it done and get it out there. You can always edit later on if you need to.
You can, and you can always rectify the mistake as well, right? Yeah. Like you could, there's so many different ways you could handle that. You could ship them another book for free, or you could refund them their money. Like there's so many ways you can handle that to get a customer for life. And frankly, a lot of times customers that notice mistake and you fix it and handle it the right way, they are a customer for life. Being perfect and not having any mistakes or any rough edges, it's kind of cold. But having those mistakes and fixing them as people bring them up, it's a good way to earn customers that are going to buy from you every time.
And it opens you up to what you're saying about Brene talking about vulnerability, if I do make mistakes, it's actually kind of the real me.
It is. It totally is. Everybody does it. Everybody makes massive mistakes. But when it's an online business, it's a little bit more noticeable because we feel like all eyes are on us. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is not all eyes are on us. Most people have everyone has their own life and their own struggles or their own wins that they're going through. And the service you're providing can be massively helpful, but it's also, they're not sitting there nitpicking everything you do because they have other things going on.
Yeah, they don't. I've had hundreds and hundreds of students go through my programs, and one of them emailed me the other day and said, Michelle, I kind of like that I couldn't figure out something on screen that I was demonstrating. And I I don't know, I just went blank and like, well, I think you click here. I just totally, and they said, hey, that was real. And wow, I mean, somebody actually took the time to stop and write that and tell me that at that point in the video demo, that was me being real. And in fact, later on, I was like, oh crap, what did I do? But it's true. Yeah. Christy says, done is better than perfect. Yep, that is exactly right. Terrific strategy. Not getting caught up in the emotions of the launch. There's always, there's a lot of emotions of the launch. They definitely do go up and down with the launch of a new product, whether it's a physical product or a digital product. Yeah. Kind of on edge. What if something goes wrong? What if all the what ifs?
Yeah. And well, let me just resolve all those what ifs right now. They'll all happen. Something will go wrong. Somebody will leave a bad comment. Like all of those things will happen, and it's not the end of the world. We'll make it through. We'll learn from that. But I mean, those things will happen. When you normalize those things, then it's not a big deal. When it happens, it's interesting when you start running Facebook ads specifically because they're a social ad. People have the ability to write comments on there
on the ad.
Yeah, and it's so fascinating to me because I have an ad right now. I've been pushing it pretty hard, and I have 500 comments on it and over 100,000 likes. And I still get people commenting really negative things about my product. But then I'll have someone else comment really amazing and positive things and how helpful it was to them. And so what I'm getting at is another area of imposter syndrome is we tend to focus on those negative comments.
True.
No product or service is going to be a good fit for everyone. There's always going to be someone out there who doesn't like it. But on the flip side of that, there's probably going to be more people that do like it, as long as you're delivering, you know, a good quality product and you're helping people. And so, but our attention is spent more on those negative comments. It's like I want to say it's like a 20-to-1. You know, psychologically, we will spend 20 times more energy reading negativity than we will the positive stuff, and we internalize the negativity faster. And so knowing that, realize that, like, that's part of being a human, is to kind of internalize that negativity faster. You can say, oh, this isn't reality. I'm still helping these and these and these people. But yeah,
we do that.
Negative comments. That's for sure.
I do that too, you know, and you know, after you do it a couple times to yourself and beat yourself up, then eventually you get over that and you don't think about it anymore. But here's a good one for you, Blake. I was one time doing a live course locally, and everybody had their laptops around, and people paid to be in this course. It was one of my courses, and I would go around and help each individual person that was there. I'd demonstrate a topic or a function, and then I'd go help everybody. And one person in the group was extremely demanding. You know, you've probably been in a class like that in your life one point, you know, where one person is just, yeah. And so I was just giving lots of extra patience. I have oodles of patience to this woman. And at the end of it all, everybody writes these beautiful reviews, except her. And here I had given her all this extra time. I mean, to the point of not giving the other students time. She took all the time. And the review was, are you ready for this? That there's a reason for my bad review was because the sun was shining through the window on her computer screen. It was difficult for her to see. So here I've got all these 5 stars and this one bad negative star. And I was just fuming mad about that. Like, how dare you, after I gave you all this extra time? And one of my girlfriends was just awesome at the time. And she said, oh, Michelle, you have to look at this in the right light. You have to realize that she thought you could control the sun.
Such a good way to think about it.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, but here I stewed on that one thing when here I had all these other great, amazing reviews. We do that. We look at the one thing.
Funny. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I one of the things I've done for me, because I like the negativity, it still gets to me. I'm not gonna lie. I've sold almost 10,000 copies of my plan now. I mean, I'm selling tons of them, but the negativity gets to me sometimes. So I actually set up a customer support department, and I have a couple of VAs in there, and I have them handle all the negative comments for me and just send the stuff that I need to handle directly to me. It's easy, because even though I know that negativity is easily absorbed, it still gets to me sometimes, and my productivity is less. And so there are times I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to even look at these for this whole week. So you guys take care of all of those negative comments and just let me know if there's like an actual problem or something that I need to resolve that you can't.
That's excellent. You'll have to tell me how to do that someday in the future.
It's not as hard as you think. But yeah, absolutely, for sure.
That's good, because, you know, even celebrities just get ripped apart online, you know, and it's like, man, how do they not deal with that? That must be so frustrating when they've already achieved and accomplished incredible and amazing things. Yeah. And people do put nasty stuff online, whether it may not even be warranted or not.
Right.
That's out there. And that it kind of crushes my spirit when I hear those things. But, you know, on the days that I do feel lousy, isn't very often, you know, I'll go read my positive testimonials. I'll just go read down the page. And, you know, that just tends to take a lot of that away when I realize, you know, here's all these people all over the world that absolutely love me and think that what I've provided for them has created a big impact on them and their lives and their business. Then I feel better about it. You know, somebody the other day said that sometimes people don't resonate with me because I'm very energetic. And I am. I'm super energetic all the time. I'm like, I have a lot of energy because I'm excited about things. And there's a little segment of people out there that don't resonate with high energy people. And so, great, go follow the people that are monotone. Go for it. Right? And I have to just kind of let that go. And for a minute, I honestly thought, maybe, Michelle, maybe you should tone it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, no, I shouldn't do that, right?
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Oh,
I love
thank you.
your energy. I think it's contagious and fantastic. So definitely.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Because when they said that, I was like, oh no, I should like chill more. Even my husband will come home from work and he's like, and can hear me up in the loft, you know, doing an online course or something with my folks. And he'll be like, how can you do that when there's nobody here? There's nobody. I live on a 30-acre farm. There's nobody for 1,000 feet in and a mile in some directions. And I'm excited still. Because I'm excited about what online can do for people. It can really give them breakthrough in their lives and create a difference to them. And how exciting. I can't help but be excited about that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, there's just so much potential online. And so it's easy. I think you and I maybe are very similar in that way. I get so excited about helping people and talking with people about the online opportunities and brainstorming those different things. And when it comes to the negativity, I'll bring out another Brené Brown quote because I loved this one. And I didn't plan on talking about Brené Brown a whole lot, but she's fantastic. But she has this quote where she says, if someone's not in the arena getting their butt kicked as well, I don't need to value their advice or opinion. There's a lot of, and my take back on that is there's just a lot of, internet surfers and couch surfers that just feel like they have to have a say in everything, but they're not out there launching their own business. They're not out there creating products. They're not putting themselves out there and learning these new skills and going through these frustrating things. So it's easy for them to criticize and say what they would do, but they're not actually doing it. Mm-hmm. And so their opinion really isn't that valuable.
Yeah, and they're not in the arena, like you said. I like that. Then why would I give them any? Yeah, just like we don't get financial advice from broke people or or fitness information from people who are out of shape. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All of those things. Those are so wonderful. And we have, let's see, Christy says, I love your energy too. I love your energy too. She says, your courses make learning new skills fun. Oh, well, thank you, Christy. That's super, super awesome. Awesome here. And let's see. Done, yeah, we already said done's better than perfect. Wonderful. Okay, go ahead and I don't know how much time you have for us today, but we're still good. So if you want to keep on going, because this is good stuff. You know what? Yeah. Of all the videos that people watched when I did them here in the Online Moneymaker Academy, one of the highest viewed one was the motivation one. And I know this is going to be one of our highest viewing ones as well, Blake, because people just need that inspiration and motivation to continue going and follow through with their goals and dreams. And these are the steps to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could talk about this all day. This is like my subject. I've gone to web development bootcamp schools. I mentor students at those places. And I talk about this because every one of them feels this way. So I can always keep going. But like one of the principles that I think everyone needs to understand is that literally every successful person ever has felt like an imposter at some point in time. It's really easy for us to see, I always say like, Elon Musk, he's launching satellites into space. Like that's cool. But guess what? He used to be sleeping on people's couches because some of his business partners kind of cut him out of one of his businesses early on, and he ended up having to get out of it without a whole lot of money on hand. And like, there's so many different things that happen. And I'm sure he felt like a fake or a fraud at that point in time, but everyone's putting their best foot forward on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and everything like that. And so it's hard for us to see these super successful people and think, they probably felt like a fake or a fraud or an imposter at some point in time. But the fact is that they did. Why? Because it's a human emotion. It's a human thing. It's not just an American thing. Mm-hmm. It's a worldwide human thing. All humans feel this way when we're trying to level up our lives or trying to do something different. It's like built into our DNA to kind of feel this way. And that's okay. And that's normal. And so if we just kind of normalize that, say, I have to go through this, we can actually kind of celebrate it a little bit. Because when we're to a point where we start feeling like an imposter, that means we're stretching. We're stretching where we're going. We're like pushing our boundaries. We're pushing our limits. We're getting knowledge. And that's one of the stepping stones on the journey to get there is to kind of wade through this imposter syndrome. So we can definitely kind of turn that on its head and reposition it as I'm at the imposter syndrome part of the path. Okay, well, I'm just going to trudge through this, get through it, and then we're going to move on to the next side, and I'm going to be better off when I get through that step.
Oh, that's excellent. I love it. That's wonderful, wonderful. So let's say if someone's brand new and they've got a plan, and their plan is to create this product or service, or maybe they're doing influencer coaching or digital products. We have people that are creating physical products as well, or people that are flipping products, or just creating things to sell online themselves. And so doing that, you mentioned Google, comparing what my product or service is comparing to Google. How can I guess I could just not Google those other things, but count it as research, so I'm not comparing myself? How am I going to not do that? Just realize that that's just part of the step. Okay, done with that. Push that aside onto the next thing, right?
Yeah, well, I love shifting the way we think about things, because if we take some normal step to process and we shift it, turn it on its head, we can still get good outcomes without having to feel bad about it. So one of the things I like to kind of shift that to when you're doing product research or whatever, you could feel like you're doing spying on competitors, right?
Yeah, I like that.
And seeing what they're doing. You're analyzing their sales page or their process or whatever, and you're analyzing what you think the product needs to have better, and you got to make sure that's going to be in your product, and what parts of their product you're like, no one's going to care really about that. Not my customers won't care about that, but you're like this spy that's picking apart everything, and you're seeing how it all works. And before we start feeling bad about being a spy, think about it this way. Basically, all car manufacturers, they buy each other's cars and pull them apart and see what they're doing, right? They all do that. They all pull the patents that they have on the car to see how their patents are doing, and then they run it by their lawyers to see if they can get the same outcome without infringing on the patents. Like, this is normalized in all sorts of other areas, is really launching competing products and things. And it's not bad, because yours is going to be different. Yours is going to teach things in a different way. Yours is going to have your spin, your personality added to it. I definitely don't recommend copying. Clearly, we don't want to do that. But we can pick apart the different aspects and pieces and put together something that's new and better. And we can make that better mousetrap. And like I said, I mean, the big players, this is what they do a lot of the times. Think of like
emulating, right?
Robin, right?
Call it emulating.
Yeah, it's emulating, and it's not copying. It's emulating, it's improving, it's iterating. But you have people like Tony Robbins out there doing these big, huge courses. But I guarantee you the content in those courses is something that you could have found elsewhere from somebody else, and he's not the original creator of that knowledge or of that information, but he compiled it in a way that has his signature on it, in a way that
we're doing. Yeah.
Right. And a really good way to think about this is with like diet and nutrition programs. The companies out there that are coming up with nutrition programs for people and helping people out. Maybe someone's diabetic, and so here's this program, a nutrition program that helps people with diabetes. The people publishing those books are not the people doing the scientific studies. They're not the people that are doing all of these studies. They're reading those studies, compiling that knowledge, putting it in a system that's easy for your average person to follow, and then releasing that. And there's a ton of value there, right? But this isn't brand new knowledge, and they're not the only ones that have come up with this knowledge. They've just compiled it into a system, a set of steps, whatever, a meal plan that's easy for their ideal customer and their audience to follow.
Well, very well said. I have a lot of folks that I know in the Amazon business. And of course, I do Amazon some as well, but mostly in the publishing world, but that have created private label products. And it's interesting. It doesn't matter what that private label product is, whether it's a beach towel or a kitchen gadget or vitamin supplements, all of those things. But they'll buy the other one, take a look at it, and see how they can make it better. Yeah. That's exactly what you're saying that people are doing, And so if we look at it from that research point of view and the analysis point of view and how we can improve upon things, then completely eliminates that imposter syndrome from when I'm looking at it.
Yeah, and you're no longer, that comparison is no longer valid because you've created something new. You've improved on what's existing out there, and now it has your spin, your style, your stamp on it.
Yeah, there's lots of people that teach what I'm teaching. Yeah, I have. Let's see, I have a question come in from someone here. Oh, someone says, "Would you tell us about?" Here's somebody that is a publisher of children's books and low content books. Low content books are things like journals and notebooks, coloring books. Okay. And so would you dive into Instagram or Pinterest for, I guess I'm assuming they're saying promoting those, I'm assuming for promoting. Can you speak to that experience? I don't know, Pinterest or Instagram or even Facebook on that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to it a bit. I'm not a publisher and author, so your audience is going to be a little different, but some of the principles are very much the same. And so the first principle is you want to promote and put your stuff out there first where your audience hangs out, where they congregate, and 15 years ago, that was on website forums and different things like that. Now that's on different social media platforms. You want to do a little bit of research to see where your ideal customer is hanging out. For children's books and things, I would definitely think that Pinterest would be a big contender for that, as well as Instagram and probably even Facebook. But now you're thinking, oh, shoot, now I've got to post on all three of those. I wouldn't worry about that. I would pick one platform and get really good at that one platform, and then just maybe cross post from time to time on the other platforms just to keep some fresh content going there. But you pick your kind of core platform and focus on building your audience and engagement and things there. It's really easy to get overwhelmed and then just stop all of them if you're trying to be perfect at each. So don't be perfect at each, just pick one. The other thing I would recommend, and I'm sure, Michelle, you talk about this, is build an email list. That's like a direct way for you to contact people outside of the bounds and restrictions from social media. So definitely put a little bit of energy into building that email list. And at a bare minimum, just shoot an email out once a month just to start. You can always get better, right? It's iterative. You can help and get better and improve on that process. But that's definitely where I would start with that. And then the first mistake that I always tell people to not make is they're constantly kind of promoting their stuff, like saying, hey, buy this, hey, buy this. No one wants to follow an account that's just constantly selling them. So you want to put content in there that's valuable outside of just the sales prospect for you and your business. So on Instagram, maybe you're posting about how these books can help build a relationship between a child and their parents, right? Or between a child and their siblings. And just talk about that where you're not actually selling. Then you should sell maybe once a week, maybe twice a week tops, and put some sort of direct promotion out there. But definitely kind of mix up the content. Don't constantly sell, but make it engaging and make it social. People want to connect with another person, right? Another human. Even if it's your business, they want to know that there's people, real people behind that, not just this cold business office building with nameless, faceless people.
Oh, yeah, we do very much so. Wonderful. All right, let me go back over here and see if we have any others. I have my other computer monitor over here, so that's me looking at that. Great. Well, this has been so amazing, Blake. This is great stuff. So I'm going to let you go ahead and wrap it up with, throw us your biggest punch on positivity here and belief in folks, that really anybody can do this. And I try and tell people over and over, yes, you can do it. Anybody can do this, but I'm going to let you say it this time.
Well, I would just say this. We're all humans, so give yourself permission to feel those human emotions, but also understand that sometimes those emotions, especially the negative ones, the imposter syndrome specifically, doesn't always line up with reality. But it's okay to feel that. It's okay to kind of work through that. But it's also okay to kind of push through that. Maybe go find something that helps you work through those things. Oftentimes, imposter syndrome gets associated with stress. And one of the best ways to kind of complete the stress cycle is to just do some physical movement and do some deep breathing. And that's it. It could be a walk. It could be something. But one of the best things I love about running my own business, and now it's being run out of my house because of everything that's going on out there right now. If I don't have any meetings, I don't have any calls with my students or my customers, I can get up and I can go, I live in a place where I can go hiking, right? Or I could go walk around the block or something. Even if it's just 10 minutes, it's a really good way to kind of reset and then come sit back down. But it's okay to feel those feelings, but you got this. I believe in you, right? And there's tons of people out there that will believe in you too. So just keep pushing forward. You have a message that is valuable. You just need to find the right people and then, believe in that message enough yourself, which you should. So that's my tip.
Woohoo! Yeah, I love it. Yes, you can do this. I tell people they can do it. I believe in them too. Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for watching today. And Blake, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, should they, or is there a way, or they want to reach out or follow you?
Yeah. So my core platform is on Instagram. And so you can just look at Blake Beus Official on Instagram. You can just always go to blakebeus.com and see what I have going on there.
Okay.
And yeah, those are kind of the two main places you can find me, but I'll pop up in different places from time to time as well.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
And you know what? If you're watching this on YouTube, please make a comment and give us a thumbs up. Click the little subscribe button and hit the little bell icon too, so that you'll get notified when new videos come up. If you're watching on Facebook, please like this video. If you know someone who might be needing to hear this message, tag them also and share this group with them too. So thank you all very much for watching today. Thank you, Blake, for joining me. And yeah, we will see you next time.
Thanks a ton. Bye.